We got NFL rumors to get through here, folks. Let's start things off with the Khalil Mack situation. And it ain't good for the Oakland Raiders. Now, NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reported Mack and the Raiders haven't had contract talks since February. So, you want to talk about dialogue, there is a lack thereof between these two. Now, Mack enters the final year of his rookie contract with a fifth-year salary option of $13.85 million, subject to $30,000 in fines per day missed if the Raiders want to go that route, which is probably not smart. During the preseason, for every game missed, Khalil Mack would miss a regular season check, which is not good if you're Khalil Mack either because, well, you're trying to get paid. It's kind of ironic that he's going to get fined for not showing up. Now, if the holdout lasts into the regular season, Mack will have to decide whether to show up before Week 10, which would give him credit for the final year of his contract, or to just sit out the entire year. Now, that is way down the line. I don't think it gets to that point. But Rappaport also said discussions are, quote, tense and won't be resolved soon. Now, Raiders GM Reggie McKenzie said Khalil is the first guy, or is not the first guy to hold out, but we'll get through this. He is going to hold out until he gets an extension, and that's where we are. He said nothing, basically. And apparently John Gruden and Mack have not been talking. Just pay the guy. Just pay him and move on with your lives. Like, same can be said about the LA Rams, too. They're going through their financial stuff, extending other players, but not Aaron Donald. So it's like, Raiders, get it done, move on. Khalil Mack will get you 15.5 sacks, maybe more in 2018, and the Raiders could be headed to the Super Bowl. Are the Raiders Super Bowl ready? Type Y for yes, type N for no. The NFL is all about parity, ladies and gentlemen, which means teams, maybe that struggle one year, will be better the next year out of nowhere. I think the Oakland Raiders qualify as one of those teams. They struggled in 2017, but they were really good in 2016 until that Derek Carr injury. If Derek Carr did not get hurt, the Raiders would have made more noise in that postseason because Connor Cook is not good. So for Oakland, I do think they're in good position here to come out of nowhere. All right, quote me on this. I think the Raiders are indeed ready to make a Super Bowl push. I think they win the AFC West, a very competitive division at that, but I think they get it done. I have my questions about the Chargers. They haven't won the division since 2009. And the Denver Broncos, they're still kind of figuring it out on offense. And then you've got the Kansas City Chiefs with uncertainty at quarterback. How will Patrick Mahomes pan out? So I'm a big-time Raiders guy, if you will, in terms of a breakout team. Also a big-time Titans guy as well, in terms of AFC teams that could really emerge. All right, let's talk about Johnny Manziel. He's going to be starting for his new team out there. So the Montreal Alouettes. Well, they acquired him last week, and they're wasting no time at all to start Johnny Manziel. This according to head coach Mike Sherman. Now, Manziel was traded from the Hamilton Tiger Cats to Montreal. He didn't see any playing time during his 5 games with the Tiger Cats. And I gotta say, Johnny Manziel starting at quarterback, playing against his former CFL team, is like literally the best possible CFL storyline you could have. Unless Colin Kaepernick joins the CFL and then he takes on Johnny Manziel. I think that would be a pretty good game for ratings, might I add. So, in terms of Canadian football, this is as good as it gets, at least right now, so definitely cherish this. I'll be interested to see how Johnny pans out on the tape and in that game. I'll be watching. Hopefully you will be too. Speaking of Colin Kaepernick, well, he's at the center, of course, of the national anthem debate, right? When he started kneeling, Eric Reid joined in, and that opened the floodgates. Jerry Jones recently discussed the national anthem in that he expects all Dallas Cowboys players to stand at attention, toes in line. Now, I talked about this on Monday. The reason I'm talking about this again is because it's going to set things up for the next little tidbit of information that I have for you guys. But in case you missed Monday's show, Jerry Jones was told by the NFL not to talk about the national anthem. Jerry Jones basically told all of the local news outlets around here in Dallas, where I'm currently located. By the way, everybody asks what city is behind me. That skyline, that is Dallas, by the way. And so Jones is just keeping mum on the subject as we stand. Now, whether or not that lasts remains to be seen. And many players came out against what Jerry Jones recently said about how he expects players to stand during the national anthem, Malcolm Jenkins included, and also Richard Sherman put out his 2 cents in regards to Jerry Jones' stance. So USA Today's Jared Bell spoke with Sherman about the national anthem debate, and here's what Sherman said about Jerry. Quote, "The owner of the Dallas Cowboys, with the old plantation mentality, what did you expect?" Some fighting words there from Richard Sherman. Wow, so that's some big-time stuff. And this is just a microcosm of the discord, of the friction, of the, I guess you could say, division in perspectives on this national anthem debate. Now, people from all different realms are talking about it. The president has talked about it. I have talked about it on this very program. In fact, I put out a post on the Cam Rogers Show Facebook page engaging you guys, the fans of the program, what you think about the national anthem and where you stand on this debate. Some people are saying get rid of the anthem and fake patriotism. Other people are saying that you should stand. And I actually had a couple of veterans chime in the comments section too. I made sure to thank them for their service. So if you ever engage with a veteran, be sure to do that. That is your advice for the day. Now, Ted Cruz recently chimed in on the debate, saying, by the way, he's a Texans fan, people ought to be able to enjoy football without it being turned into a political statement. Went on to say, many understandably see kneeling as a slight to our American flag and to the many people who fought to defend our country. So this begs the question for all of you guys watching on YouTube Live as well as Facebook Live, which side are you on? Type away, folks. K for kneel, S for stand. Be sure to expand upon yourselves in regards to this debate. Now, where are we with the national anthem? Well, the NFL and NFLPA are still engaged in negotiations in terms of what the actual policy will be. Friendly reminder, there's a game tomorrow. Baltimore, Chicago, Hall of Fame game. And we have no national anthem policy. So I can guarantee you the cameras will be on the sideline, ready to capture which players stand, which players kneel, and which players actually stay in the locker room, which was part of the original policy etched out by the NFL, which claimed it was a compromise, even though it was not, because it did not talk to the NFLPA about this. Now, somebody on YouTube Live, MasonTube, saying, Ted Cruz be spitting facts. Are you in line with Ted Cruz's thinking? The president's thinking? Maybe Colin Kaepernick's thinking on the matter. He has an ongoing collusion case against the National Football League, so he probably won't be on a team very soon, if not, at all. And so we're at a crossroads, if you will, in regards to this ongoing debate, because you have NFL owners here who are worried about their pocketbooks and who are looking to make money and don't want to see sponsors flee. And so they want players to stand so that the president of the United States does not call them out on Twitter. And that's when the sponsors flee. That's when the fans flee, or at least the Trump supporter fans out there flee. Many of them in middle America where a lot of big-time franchises reside. So it's just a, guess you could say, domino effect type deal here. All right, so we got comments flowing in. I appreciate you guys giving your 2 cents. So we have one comment coming in. This was a political stunt to bring in more money for the NFL. So I actually did see a comment on my post on the Cam Rogers Show Facebook page. Be sure to like it. That the government is giving the NFL money to actually do the national anthem. Now, I am not reporting that as fact. I actually don't know if that is a fact. But that's kind of a perspective that people are kind of posing out there. Like, get rid of what they are calling fake patriotism. Don't do the national anthem at all, right? And then be done with it. And if you forced me to give you guys a solution to this debate, I guess that would be it, right? To just not do the national anthem at all. And if you want to show respect for your country or something like that, and you want to stand and do all that, you can. There just won't be a national anthem played. So I guess maybe that would be the best solution to kind of please all parties involved. In one hand, people who want to kneel can find a different way to protest and bring, I guess you could say, a dialogue in regards to the social injustice that's going on right now. And then the other hand is, well, fans don't have to see necessarily kneeling during the national anthem. We know a lot of fans don't want to see it on TV. So, very interesting stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Quite a debate. Keep them coming. I want to hear those comments. All right, let's continue along here in the NFL rumors section and talk about Stefon Diggs signing an extension with the Minnesota Vikings. It's a 5-year deal worth $72 million. Good for this guy, the former Maryland Terrapin. I watched him play football with my own eyes, and he was an electric, exciting player. And he actually turned to tears when this extension was announced and when he signed this. And when you're an NFL player, you never really know, if you were a fan, what that specific player has gone through. And I'm sure Stefon Diggs had to battle his fair share of adversity. And to get to the point where he is signing a 5-year deal worth $72 million, that's big stuff. Really big stuff. Now he has an opportunity to break the hearts of many more Saints fans out there for 5 years to come. By the way, the Minnesota Vikings are in Super Bowl form right now. And their core is locked in for many years. Talking about Everson Griffin and Linval Joseph and Xavier Rhodes and Eric Kendricks. And Stefon Diggs included as well. Harrison Smith is under contract for a good amount of time too. Diggs went on to say, quote, "I want to be here. I love to be here." Now, he has dealt with his fair share of groin injuries in the past, but overall, one of the premier wide receivers in the NFL that we really don't talk about as much. So Stefon Diggs, Adam Thielen there at the wide receiver position for the Minnesota Vikings, very much going to be a part of that Super Bowl push. Kirk Cousins agrees. He likes the extension from the Minnesota Vikings here. Told the Minneapolis Star-Tribune he loves the community provided by, the continuity provided by the Diggs deal, saying, quote, "Continuity to me is very important. And it's not a luxury that we have in the NFL these days." You know, you got to wonder if that's a slight at the Washington Redskins. That franchise tagged him repeatedly and did not want to give him a long-term deal, it appeared. So, I think it was. But Kirk Cousins, the $84 million man himself, is in a position to make some noise with this team. Because I love the defense. Linval Joseph, Everson Griffin, Harrison Smith, Xavier Rhodes, Trey Waynes. Maybe he improves. We'll see what Mackenzie Alexander can do as a young cornerback in the NFL. Love this team. Didn't even mention Dalvin Cook, too, who's coming off an injury. So eventually I will get to my NFL season predictions at some point this month and talk about my Super Bowl prediction and all of this stuff, a.k.a. revealing the answer key to the test. But I can tell you that the Minnesota Vikings are going to be a part of my conversations when I get to those season predictions. So keep that in mind. I think they're in a really good spot to make some noise. All right, you guys are watching the Cam Rogers Show presented by Autolist. Are you looking for a used or new car out there? I've got you covered. Go to Autolist.com. Browse the largest source of inventory on the web or download their top-rated mobile app for iPhone or Android today. Want to hear from you guys about these NFL rumors, so be sure to hit me up in comments. I'll be sure to respond to you guys after the show is over as well. All right, let's talk about Roquan Smith. He is the only man left unsigned among the rookie class here. So the Smith contract talks, are apparently at a stalemate, if you want to ask head coach Matt Nagy. Now, the Bears want language in Smith's contract that would void his guaranteed money if he gets suspended. Now, the Roquan Smith camp does not want that. So why? So this is considering the NFL passed a new rule that you guys probably know about that could result in players getting suspended for lowering their helmets on hits. Now, players are not big fans of this. And Smith doesn't want to risk getting suspended over a rule that he disagrees with and could perhaps be up for debate in terms of the subjectivity of said rule. So with that, Smith remains the only unsigned rookie, as I mentioned, and he wants the guaranteed money even if he is suspended. And when I first read this story, I was like, wait, what? Why would he actually make that argument? Like, if he's doing PEDs, he does not deserve guaranteed money. But if the Smith camp is saying that, well, we don't agree with this rule that just came out, then I understand, because a lot of players out there, especially on that defensive side, are not big fans of what the NFL recently implemented in regards to this lowering of the helmet type of rule. All right, let's talk about Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. So Lamar is quite excited. He's eager to show that he is a quarterback in his debut with the Baltimore Ravens coming up tomorrow night against the Chicago Bears. And why do you say that? Well, obviously there was some previous buzz way back before the draft that Jackson should be more of a wide receiver in the National Football League. Now, the Ravens traded up to get Lamar Jackson, but I will say at the same time that Jackson says this, we hear reports about Joe Flacco having the best training camp of his career. This is huge. If we're talking about a team that could emerge in the AFC, the Baltimore Ravens have been there and done that. They've been to New England, and they have taken down Goliath before. The Ravens have been to Pittsburgh and have taken down the Pittsburgh Steelers before. So if Joe Flacco gets back to that 2012 mold, even the 2014 version, when the Ravens had a great run game and a good offensive line and that zone blocking scheme that they had with Gary Kubiak, who is obviously no longer there, the Ravens are going to be a tough team to deal with. We already know they have a good front seven, a good secondary, which is not usually the case with Baltimore because of so many injuries that they have had in that back end. But I think this Lamar Jackson drafting is a blessing for Lamar Jackson fans out there and a blessing in disguise for the Joe Flacco truthers out there like yours truly as a Ravens fan. I still believe in Joe. I'm not ready for the Lamar Jackson era just yet. I think we need to wait a little bit. I want Joe Flacco to run out his career with the Baltimore Ravens, and I think that this motivation here for Joe is crucial. And I think it will show on the football field when he's throwing the pigskin to the likes of Willie Snead and Michael Crabtree and John Brown down the football field. Maybe Brashad Perriman if he makes the team. All right? So, by the way, no controversy between Lamar and Joe. Let me just say that right off the bat. All right, let's continue along here and talk about Arik Armstead because he is now week to week with a hamstring injury. His career has been riddled with injuries, only played in 14 games over the last 2 seasons. His fifth-year option was picked up by the San Francisco 49ers, probably because they are desperate for an edge rusher to show up in any regard. And they're hoping that Arik Armstead can be that guy, and if he is already kicking off the injury parade here with his hamstring, which, by the way, can be a nagging thing for many weeks, maybe many months, it's not good news. Now, the 49ers are confident that, maybe Solomon Thomas can emerge, or perhaps Jeremiah Atachu, who comes on over from L.A., the Chargers. The biggest weakness for San Francisco on that defensive side is the edge rusher position and their ability to create sacks. And if Arik Armstead is out of the lineup for any long period of time, that is not good news. So for San Francisco, hopefully Arik Armstead gets healthy soon. Week to week, not the biggest deal in the world. This was not a tear or anything of that sort. All right, let's talk about Ezekiel Elliott because he feels he has weight off his shoulders. He feels more relaxed at training camp this season. And I guess when you get that whole suspension out of the way, usually that takes the weight off of your shoulders, ladies and gentlemen. Now, for Zeke, he is going to be fed this year. There is no doubt about that in my eyes, especially when you look at the Cowboys depth chart at wide receiver. Now, running back coach Gary Brown said, quote, "At this time last year, he was very stressed. It's a completely different Zeke than it was last year." So apparently he's in better shape. Apparently he's stress-free. And the Dallas Cowboys still have the premier offensive line in the NFC in my eyes. You got Zeke, you got Dak. Yeah, Dez Bryant is no more, but you have capable pass catchers out there. Allen Hurns. I'm intrigued to see if Deontay Thompson can actually make some noise through training camp. It's still early. And, of course, you have Gallup as well, the rookie. So, in terms of pass catchers, not the greatest depth chart in the world, but good enough, especially if you have a run game and a play action that is deadly. When you have all those linebackers coming up and those box safeties coming up, and then you got one-on-one coverage on the outside. I don't care if it's Julio Jones or Michael Gallup playing up against a slot corner off play action with linebackers sucking up. You're going to get open, probably. So that's kind of my logic there with the Dallas Cowboys. In terms of the Cowboys making the playoffs this year, let me know. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Somebody DM'd me on my Facebook page asking about what the Cowboys' record will be. I think 9-7 to 11-5 is kind of the range I'm looking at. Now, that is not a hard prediction yet. I have not zoned in on their game-by-game predictions just yet. But I think the Cowboys will be in the postseason conversation, especially in regards to this narrative that we hear about all the time about the NFL and how there is a lot of turnover in terms of the postseason. Some teams are in one year, and those same teams could be out the next. All right, let's talk about the Panthers' potentially new look on the football field. Now, new owner Dave Tepper is essentially going through the process of erasing, I guess is the best word, the legacy of Richardson. Jerry Richardson, the former owner who had a toxic workplace culture in Carolina, and he's no longer there and all that stuff. So there used to be an NFL Shield logo at the 50-yard line, and that may seem insignificant, but it was actually Jerry Richardson's signal of gratitude to the league of letting him in 1995. So I guess what Tepper is kind of thinking about here is, okay, let's get rid of that shield because it reminds us of Jerry Richardson. It reminds us of the past. And the best way to move forward is probably to erase the past. So maybe the Panthers make some changes on that football field there. We shall see. Let's talk about LeVeon Bell. He was spotted at a strip club on Monday in South Beach. Now, reports circulated all over social media. Bell was with his girlfriend and all this stuff. And I'm not talking about this because I have a problem with LeVeon Bell being at a strip club. I'm talking about this because from a PR perspective, this is LeVeon Bell laughing in the face of GM Kevin Colbert, head coach Mike Tomlin, and the entire leadership of the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise. That's what it is. It's a symbolic move more so than anything else. And I'm sure it's no secret in terms of why this was publicly circulated. I think that's what LeVeon Bell actually wanted, right? So in that regard, Bell is saying to the Steelers, hey, I'm going to live my life. I am fine holding out. So, yeah. Well, we'll see if LeVeon actually shows up for the regular season. Stay tuned on that. You guys are watching the Cam Rogers Show presented by AutoList. Looking for a used or new car out there and you're tired of browsing a million sites? Got you covered. Go to Autolist.com to browse the largest source of inventory on the web or download their top-rated mobile app for iPhone or Android today. You know, I talked about Dez Bryant once. And I mentioned how he's going to the New England Patriots because I still firmly believe that Dez Bryant is going to go and join Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and Robert Kraft. Now, the Patriots brought in a different veteran wide receiver. His name's Eric Decker. Now, Eric Decker, of course, has connections to offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels back in the Denver days. Now, Decker was fantastic with the Broncos during the Peyton Manning era. Now, who was not? I mean, Julius Thomas was fantastic with the Broncos while Manning was there. But the Patriots have a handful of injured targets as we stand. Kenny Britt has a hamstring. Malcolm Mitchell has a knee issue. Jordan Matthews is always hurt. He's dealing with a hamstring. So you got Chris Hogan and Julian Edelman as the healthy pass catchers as we stand. But the latter name, Edelman, is going to be serving a 4-game suspension. So the Patriots are doing their homework here in terms of trying to find a receiver that is capable of just being plugged in, if you will, if need be, during the preseason and into the regular season. Don't think Eric Decker is better than Dez Bryant, though. Eric Decker, yes, is a good red zone target, and we've seen that before with his days in Denver. Did show some flashes with the Jets as well, but Decker has dealt with shoulder injuries and hip injuries and all of the sort, while Dez Bryant, yeah, he has an injury history too, but I don't think it's as bleak as Decker's. And I actually think Dez Bryant would be a better fit for the New England Patriots than Eric Decker would. Dez Bryant would be the better red zone target in my eyes. Dez Bryant would bring some flair, which, by the way, would fit really well with Tom Brady. If you have ever seen Tom Brady come out of the tunnel during a Patriots regular season game, he's amped up. Dez Bryant knows how to get amped up. So I like Dez Bryant going to the Patriots more so than Eric Decker. Now, put yourselves in the position of the Patriots general manager. Who would you rather sign? Type D for Dez Bryant, type E for Eric Decker. Get those comments in here on the Cam Rogers Show as we wrap up the program here with a minute left to go. Want to hear from you guys. Be sure to expand a little more. Why do you want Dez Bryant? Why do you want Eric Decker? I want to hear why. Why? Because supporting reasons are critical when you make that topic sentence.